Okay, we are going to start now on the third segment of this test paper, 2018 2H. So the question number 11 is saying a solid metal sphere has a radius of 1.5 centimeters and the mass is 109.6 grams. Work out the density of the sphere. Give your answer correct to three significant figures. Okay, so we know that the relationship between volume and mass is density. So if I draw the triangle here, so mass divided by volume is density. So we're looking for the density. So we need to find out, we know the mass is 109.6 grams. We know the radius of the sphere, so we need to work out the volume. Once we work out the volume, then we can work out the density. So the volume of a sphere is 4 over 3 pi r cubed. So if I do 4/3 times pi times 1.5 cubed, see what we get. I will get 9 over 2 pi. Let's keep it in terms of pi. We'll convert it into three significant figures later after I've done my final calculation. Now this will work out the density of the sphere. So we are looking for the density. So we're looking for the density. So we have to do mass divided by volume. So the mass is 109.6. So I do volume is 9 over 2 pi. The mass is 109.6 grams. So what I'm going to do now is I want to find out the density. Is mass 109.6 divided by 9 over 2 pi. Okay, and let's see what we get. 109.6 divided by 9 over 2 pi. And my answer is 7.75. Correct to three significant figures. So your answer will be 7.75 grams per cubic centimeters. Okay, right, let's move on to the next question. So the diagram shows a hexagon ABCDEF. BC is parallel to ED. So this is the hexagon. BC, this part, BC is parallel to DE. Work out the size of obtuse angle DEF. DEF, we're looking for this one. Because it's clearly mentioned here, obtuse angle, right? So if you want to work out this part, that would be wrong because that's not an obtuse angle, that's a reflex angle. Okay, so we are looking for the angle DEF. All right. So first there are various ways, but I'm going to start with the sum of interior angles of a hexagon. sum of interior angles of a hexagon is number of sides minus 2 times by 180, where the number of sides is 6, is 6 minus 2 times 180, it will give you 720 degrees. Now, we are aware of 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. We don't know the remaining 2 angles, but it's easy because where DE and BC are parallel, this angle 42 degrees and this angle are co-interior. Co-interior angles in parallel lines add up to 180 degree. So angle EDC is 180 minus 42 degrees, which is 138 degrees. That angle is 138 degrees. Why? Because they are co-interior angles in parallel lines. Okay, so now let's add up all the angles and see how much we get. So we do 50 plus 96 plus 144 plus 42 plus 138. Let's see how much we get. 50 plus 96 plus 144 plus, we're getting 470 degrees. Now 720 minus 470 gives me 250 degrees. Now don't stop here, because 250 degrees is the angle we are seeing here. This one is 250 degrees. Now we know angles around a point add up to 360 degrees. So the angle DEF, which is an obtuse angle, is going to be, so I can do the obtuse DEF, angle DEF is going to be 360 degrees minus 250 degrees, which will give you 110 degrees, and that is your answer. Okay, so this question has got a few different types of calculations. You have to know that angles, to find out the sum of interior angles, you need to know the concept of co-interior angles in parallel lines, and also you need to be able to identify the angles, which one is obtuse and which one is reflex. Question number 13. So it says Felix has 10 cards, 5 red, 4 blue and 1 green. So we've got 5 red cards, 4 blue cards and 1 green card, right? He takes at random one of the cards. He does not replace the card. This is a very important information. He does not replace the card. Okay, so complete the probability tree diagram. So first time, the probability of red is 5 out of 10. Now if he gets a red card first, how many red cards will be remaining? 4, and the total number of cards remaining will be now 9. So the probability of red the next time will be 4 out of 9. The number of blue has not changed, so it will remain 4, but the total number of cards have changed, so that will be 4 out of 9. And there's 1 green card, so 1 out of 9. You need to check, you can check that these 3 branches, the fractions or the values of these 3 branches should always add up to 1 whole. Okay. Now, if you get a blue card the first time, then the probability of getting a blue next time will be 3 out of 9 because one blue card has already been picked and it has been kept. The red number of red cards remain unchanged, so it will be 5 out of 9, and green will be 1 out of 9. Now, if you get a green the first time, there's only one green card. Are there any more green cards left? No. So the probability of green will be 0. The probability of red will be 5, and there are 9 cards remaining, and the probability of blue will be 4, there are 9 cards remaining. So that's your probability tree diagram completed. Now the next part of the question is asking you, it's went a bit too far up. Work out the probability that Felix takes at least one blue card and no green card. At least one blue and no green. Okay, so let's look at the probabilities. At least one blue means he can get a red and a blue. At least one green card, at least one blue card. So he has to minimum of one blue card. So he can get a blue and a red and blue and a blue. And he can get and the third branch is not applicable because he is not taking any green card. So the probability is red and blue, blue and red, and blue and blue. So let's do the calculation. We know that when we move along the branches, we multiply, or in other words, when we do AND, we multiply. So I'm going to do this calculation here because of lack of, no, I can actually do it on the side. Okay, so my probabilities are probability of red and blue, probability of blue and red, and probability of blue and blue. These are the three situations where this condition is fulfilled, and they will be connected by OR. So red and blue is 5 out of 10 times 4 out of 9. 5 out of 10 times 4 out of 9. Blue and red is 4 out of 10 and 5 out of 9. And blue is 4 out of 10 times 3 out of 9. So let's see what we get here. 20 out of 90, 20 out of 90, and 12 out of 90. If I add them all together, I will get 52 out of 90. You can simplify the fraction. That will be 26 out of 45. You can also write it as a decimal, but I prefer writing in this as a fraction because sometimes in decimals you get recurring decimals, which is not like desirable. Okay, that's a 5-mark question. Let's move on to the next one. Question 14. Complete the table of values for x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x plus 4. They've given you the values here. Some of the values you need to fill in the remaining ones. So all this we need to do is we just substitute. So if I substitute minus 2, we do it all in the calculator, but make sure when you put negative numbers, you put them in brackets. So negative 2 cubed minus 2, negative 2 squared minus 3, negative 2 plus 4. So if you put that in the calculator, you're going to get, okay, so we do x cubed So for the first one, I'm getting minus 6. This is minus 6. And we repeat the calculation. Instead, we are now going to include minus 1 cubed minus 2 times negative 1 squared minus 3 negative 1 plus 4 will give me 4. When I replace it with 1, I will get 0. When I substitute with 2, I will get negative 2. And when I substitute it with 3, I will get 4. Now you can see this is a cubic graph. So we're going to now plot the points minus 2 and minus 6. Minus 2, pull it up a bit. Okay. So minus 2 and minus 6, that's my first point there. Minus 1 and 4, minus 1 and 4. Then 0 minus 0.5 and 4.875. Minus 0.5 is in between, 4.875, it would be here. 0 and 4, 1 and 0, 1.5 and 1 minus 1.625. So that's around here. 2 and negative 2, 3 and 4. So my graph is going to look like this. Okay, try to do it as accurately as possible. A smooth curve with no sharp edges, and that's how the graph is going to look like. Now the next part of the question is asking you, by drawing a straight line on the grid, find estimates of the solution for x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 1 equals to 0. So you see, my initial equation was x cubed minus 2x cubed minus 3x plus 4, right? Now if I try to write it like this, so I can say x cubed minus 2x squared, sorry, that's x squared minus x plus 1. Now you see, this was minus 3x, I've written minus x, so to adjust it I will write minus 2x, and this is 4, I wrote 1, so I'm going to write plus 3. Now I've reorganized this equation to look like this, is equal to, that's y, right? Y is equal to that. Now they told us that this equation x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 1 equals to 0. So this whole part is equal to 0. So I can write y is equal to 0 minus 2x plus 3, or y is equal to negative 2x plus 3. Now what I need to do is I need to draw the graph of this line. So I'm going to make a small table of values x and y, and I'm going to just take 3 values for x, 0, 1 and 2. So when x is 0, y will be 3. When x is 1, minus 2 times 1 is minus 2 plus 3 is 1. And when x is 2, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. So I've got the 3 dots. So 0, 3, that's 1 point. 1, 1 is that point. And 2 and negative 1 is that point. Sorry, it's a bit higher. That point. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to join them with a straight line. So when I join them with a straight line, right, I'm getting 3 solutions for this graph. One is here, one is here, and one is here. The 3 places where this straight line has crossed the curve. And we take the reading of the x values, and those will be your solutions, right? So let's look at the first one. That is going to be almost negative 0.9. I would say this is negative 0.9. This is 0.7, and this one is 2.4. So the 3 solutions for x is negative 0.9, 0.7 and 2.4. Okay, so that was it for this question. Okay, question number 15. E is equal to 8.31 correct to 2 decimal places. F is equal to 0.65 correct to 2 decimal places. Work out the lower bound of value of E minus F. So first what we'll do is we'll do the upper bound and lower bound of E and F. So upper bound of E is 8.315 and the lower bound will be 8.2, so 305. Because it says correct to 2 decimal places, so we remove half unit to get the lower bound and add half unit to get the upper bound. The upper bound for F will be 0.6. The upper bound will be 655. The lower bound will be 0.645. Now we need to find out the lower bound of E minus F. So we know that lower bound of E minus F is going to be lower bound E minus upper bound F. Okay, so the lower bound of E is 8.305 minus the upper bound of F is 0.655. So when I minus those two, 8.305 minus 0.655 is going to give me 7.65, and that is your answer. Okay, question. So that's the end of the segment 3, question 11 to question 15. In the next segment, we'll be doing from question 16 all the way to the end of this test paper.